The slap landed so hard my vision blurred. I tasted blood, copper sharp on my tongue. The crowded sidewalk in downtown Los Angeles froze around us like someone hit pause on the whole world. People stared, phones already out, but no one moved. Not yet. Stay down, you little slut, Kyle snarled, his voice thick with the alpha rage I used to find thrilling. His hand was still raised, knuckles white. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend now, I guess, loomed over me, chest heaving under the same black polo he'd worn the night we met at that tech happy hour in Santa Monica. You think you can smile at another alpha in front of me? After everything I've done for you? I curled on the hot concrete, one arm shielding my face. My Omega scent, sweet jasmine and panic, leaked out despite the suppressants I'd doubled this morning. Passers-by whispered. A woman in yoga pants clutched her toddler tighter. Someone muttered, "Call the cops." But Kyle was an alpha with money and temper, and everyone knew what that meant in this city. Another kick caught my ribs. Pain exploded white-hot. I gasped, curling tighter. "Kyle, please?" "Shut up." His shoe connected again. I heard something crack. The world tilted. Then everything changed. A low growl cut through the noise, not the usual alpha bark but something deeper, darker, like thunder rolling under skin. The air shifted. My Omega instincts screamed safe before my brain caught up. A stranger stepped between us. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a simple white button-down and dark jeans that looked expensive without trying. Black hair fell over one eye. But it was the scent that hit me first, cedar smoke and lightning, sharp enough to make my knees weak even while I was already on them. Not just alpha. Something more. Something that made every hair on my body stand up. Kyle laughed, ugly. "Move, stranger. This is my Omega." The stranger didn't speak. He simply caught Kyle's neck swing midair, wrist twisting until my ex howled. The crack of bone was sickeningly loud. People gasped. Phones jerked higher. "I don't like it when people hit what's mine to protect," the stranger said, voice calm, almost bored. But his eyes, storm gray, locked on Kyle like a predator deciding if the prey was worth the effort. "Walk away. Now." Kyle tried to lunge. The stranger moved faster than anything I'd ever seen. One shove and Kyle flew backward, slamming into a parked food truck. Tacos spilled everywhere. LAPD officers finally pushed through the crowd, but the stranger was already kneeling beside me. "Hey," he murmured, voice softening in a way that made my chest ache. Gentle fingers brushed hair from my eyes. "Can you stand?" I tried. Pain lanced through my side. A whimper escaped. His scent wrapped around me like a blanket, chasing away the terror. My Omega side purred, actually purred, deep in my throat. I hadn't done that since I was 16. "Easy," he said. He slid one arm under my knees, the other behind my back, and lifted me like I weighed nothing. The world spun, but I felt safe. For the first time in 2 years. Kyle was screaming something about lawsuits, but the stranger ignored him. He carried me through the parting crowd toward a sleek black SUV idling at the curb. A driver in sunglasses opened the door without a word. "Wait," I croaked. Who are you?" He settled me in the back seat, buckling the belt carefully around my bruised ribs. His face was inches from mine. Up close, I saw the faint scar along his jaw and the way his pupils had blown wide, ringed with gold. Enigma gold. "Name's Kai," he said. "And you're coming with me." The door shut. The SUV pulled away smooth as silk. I clutched the seat, heart hammering. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably my best friend Mia, who'd warned me about Kyle 100 times. I didn't answer. I couldn't look away from Kai. He sat beside me, one hand resting on my knee, not possessive, just there. Steady. His scent filled the car, calming the frantic beat of my pulse. I should have been terrified. I'd just been beaten in public by the man I thought I loved, and now a complete stranger, an Enigma for God's sake, was whisking me away in the nicest possible way. But all I felt was relief so sharp it hurt. "You're an Enigma?" I whispered. The word felt heavy on my tongue. Everyone knew the stories. Enigmas were 1 in a million. Stronger pheromones, rarer instincts, the kind of alpha who could topple packs with a look. They didn't usually play hero on LA sidewalks. Kai's mouth curved, not quite a smile. "Guilty. And you're bleeding. Hospital first." I shook my head, wincing. "No hospitals. Kyle, he knows people. He'll find me." Kai's eyes flashed. The gold ring brightened. "He won't touch you again. Not while I'm breathing." The promise landed like a vow. My Omega instincts melted into it, humming contentment even through the pain. I let my head rest against the cool leather. The city blurred past the tinted windows, Billboards screaming movie releases, endless traffic on the 110, palm trees whipping by. Normal life. Mine had just exploded. At a quiet private clinic tucked in the hills above Los Feliz, Kai carried me inside like I was glass. The doctor, an older beta woman, took one look at his scent and didn't ask questions. X-rays, bandages, painkillers that made everything fuzzy and warm. 2 cracked ribs, bruised spleen, split lip. Nothing I couldn't hide under hoodies and lies. I'd done it before. Kai stayed the whole time, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Every time I flinched, his scent spiked protective. When the doctor left, he crouched in front of me. "Tell me your name," he said softly. "Alex," I answered. "Alexander Hayes." "Alex?" he repeated like he was tasting it. His thumb brushed my uninjured cheek. The touch sent sparks down my spine. "You're safe now. But I need to know, do you want me to take you home? Or do you want to come with me?" I should have said home. I had an apartment in Koreatown, a job at the tech firm in Playa Vista, friends who would rally. But Kyle had a key. Kyle had my location turned on. Kyle had 2 years of my life wrapped around his fist. I looked at Kai, really looked. The way his shirt stretched across his chest. The calm power radiating off him. The way my body leaned toward him without permission. "Take me with you," I whispered. His smile was small, but it lit something inside me I thought Kyle had killed. Good choice. The drive to his place took 20 minutes up winding canyon roads. His house wasn't a house. It was a sleek glass and steel villa perched on the hills overlooking the city, surrounded by high walls and what I suspected were very discreet security. Inside smelled like him, cedar and storm. Minimal furniture, lots of books, a wall of windows showing the sunset bleeding orange across the Los Angeles skyline. He set me on a wide leather couch, disappeared, and returned with a soft hoodie that smelled freshly washed but still carried his scent. I changed in the guest bathroom, wincing at every movement. When I came out, he was in the kitchen pouring something steaming into 2 mugs. "Chamomile and honey," he said. "Helps with the pain and the aftershocks." I took the mug. Our fingers brushed. Electricity. I almost dropped it. We sat on the balcony as night fell. The city sparkled below like scattered jewels, freeway lights snaking through the basin, the faint glow of the Hollywood sign in the distance. My ribs throbbed but the pain felt distant. Kai didn't push. He just sat there, long legs stretched out, giving me space while his presence wrapped around me like armor. "You didn't have to do that," I said finally. "Intervene, I mean. Most people walk past." Kai's gaze stayed on the horizon. Most people aren't enigmas. And most people didn't watch an Omega get treated like trash in broad daylight. He turned to me. "I felt your fear before I saw you." It called to me. My breath caught. In ABO terms, that was huge. Enigmas didn't feel random Omegas unless the bond was already trying to form. I wasn't ready for that. I was still bleeding from the last one. "I'm broken," I said quietly. "Kyle, he wasn't always like this. At first it was sweet. Then the jealousy. Then the control. I kept thinking if I was better, he'd stop." Kai's hand found mine on the armrest. He didn't squeeze, just held it. "You're not broken, Alex. You're surviving. There's a difference." Tears burned my eyes. I hadn't cried in months. Not since the last time Kyle promised it would never happen again. Now they spilled over, hot and silent. Kai pulled me gently against his side. I went, tucking my face into his chest. His heartbeat was steady, strong. His scent flooded me, safety, want, something deeper I couldn't name yet. We stayed like that until the stars came out. No more words. Just breathing. Later he showed me to the guest room, king bed, soft sheets, a view of the twinkling city lights. "Rest," he said at the door. "I'll be right down the hall if you need anything." Anything at all. I nodded, suddenly exhausted. But as he turned to leave, I caught his wrist. "Kai." He looked back, eyes glowing faintly in the low light. "Thank you." His smile was soft. "Sleep, little Omega. Tomorrow we figure out the rest." The door clicked shut. I crawled under the covers, his hoodie still on, his scent everywhere. My ribs hurt. My heart hurt worse. But for the first time in forever, I wasn't afraid of the dark. Somewhere in the city, Kyle was probably plotting. My job, my friends, my old life. All of it felt a million miles away. But here, in this stranger's house, with an Enigma Alpha standing guard, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Sunlight sliced through the floor-to-ceiling windows like it had a personal grudge. I woke with a gasp, ribs screaming before my brain even caught up. The king bed felt too big, too soft, and the hoodie I'd slept in still smelled like cedar smoke and lightning. Kai's scent wrapped around me tighter than any blanket. For a second I forgot where I was. Then it hit. Downtown sidewalk, Kyle's fist, the stranger who wasn't a stranger anymore. I sat up too fast. Pain flared white-hot across my side. A whimper slipped out before I could stop it. The bedroom door opened almost instantly, like he'd been listening. Kai stood there in gray sweatpants and a black tank that did nothing to hide the muscle underneath. His black hair was messy from sleep, storm-gray eyes already scanning me like a threat assessment. "Morning," he said, voice low and rough in a way that made my Omega instincts purr again. "Heard you. Ribs?" I nodded, trying to play it cool even though my face felt hot. "Yeah. Just stiff." He crossed the room in 3 strides, crouching beside the bed without touching me. Close enough that his scent flooded my lungs and chased the panic away. "Doctor said movement's good but slow. I made breakfast. You hungry?" My stomach answered with a loud growl. I hadn't eaten since yesterday's sad protein bar before the market run. Starving. Kai's mouth twitched into that almost smile again. He offered his hand. I took it. The moment our palms met, warmth shot up my arm like a live wire. He pulled me up gently, one arm steady around my waist so I didn't have to twist. We moved down the hallway like that, me leaning into him more than I wanted to admit, and into the open kitchen that overlooked the canyon. The view stopped me cold. Los Angeles sprawled below in hazy morning light. The 101 snaking through the hills, distant skyscrapers glinting, the faint outline of the Griffith Observatory. It felt like we were floating above the city instead of part of it. "Sit," he said, guiding me to a bar stool at the Marble Island. He moved around the kitchen like he cooked for injured Omegas every day, flipping eggs, sliding avocado toast onto a plate, pouring coffee that smelled expensive. No questions about last night. No pity. Just quiet competence that made my chest feel too tight. I picked at the food. "You don't have to do all this. I don't know, call a lift back to my place or—" "Kyle changed the locks on your apartment last night," Kai cut in, setting his own plate down. His tone was matter-of-fact, but his eyes flashed that gold ring again. "And he posted a video. The whole fight's trending. Hashtag LA Alpha Meltdown. Your face is blurred in the clips going viral, but he named you." My fork clattered. "What?" Kai slid his phone across the counter. The screen showed Twitter, no X, clips of the sidewalk chaos. Kyle's face red and screaming, security hauling him away while he yelled about my Omega cheating. Comments poured in, some calling him trash, others defending alpha rights. My stomach dropped. "I handled the basics," Kai continued, calm as ever. "Your boss at the tech firm got an anonymous tip about workplace safety. You're on paid leave for 2 weeks. Mia, your best friend, texted me after I got your phone unlocked with your fingerprint while you slept. She's worried but says she'll cover for you." I stared at him. "You did all that?" "While I was unconscious." "Light sleeper," he shrugged, but his sense spiked protective, wrapping around me like armor. "Enigmas don't do half measures when something matters." Something mattered. Me. The word hung between us, heavy and electric. I pushed my plate away, suddenly not hungry. "What? You don't even know me. I'm just some Omega who got beat up in public. You could have kept walking." Kai leaned on the counter, forearms flexing. His eyes locked on mine. "Because your fear hit me like a truck before I even saw you. Enigma thing. We feel bonds forming early, threads we call them. Yours pulled. Hard." He reached across and brushed a thumb over the bruise on my cheekbone, feather light. "And because I've seen enough Omegas think they deserved it. You don't." The touch lingered. My breath hitched. His scent deepened, that lightning crackle mixing with something warmer, like rain on hot pavement. I leaned into it without thinking. My Omega side wanted to roll over and bare my throat, but my human side, the one still flinching from Kyle's fists, held back. "I'm not ready for threads or bonds or whatever," I whispered. Kyle started sweet too. Flowers. Late night drives up Mulholland. Then the jealousy. The "where were you" texts every hour. I kept making excuses because the good days felt real. Kai didn't pull away. "I'm not Kyle." His voice dropped, rougher. "And I'm not asking for anything you're not ready to give. But I'm not walking away either." We sat like that for a long minute, coffee cooling between us. Then his phone buzzed, sharp, insistent. He glanced at it and his jaw tightened. "Security feed," he muttered. "Kyle's outside the gate. With 2 buddies and a lawyer. Demanding his Omega back." Fear spiked so fast my ribs screamed again. I stood too quick, wincing. "I should go. I can't drag you into—" "Sit." The word wasn't loud, but it carried that Enigma weight. My body obeyed before my brain caught up. Kai moved to the wall panel, tapped a code. A screen flickered to life showing the front gate. Kyle pacing, face still bruised from yesterday, flanked by two alphas in suits. One held a camera. Kai hit intercom. Private property. Leave or I call LAPD for trespassing and the restraining order I just filed. Kyle's voice crackled through the speaker, ugly and loud. You think you're hot shit because you're some rich Enigma freak? Alex is mine. He'll come crawling back when your novelty wears off. Kai's laugh was soft, dangerous. Try me. The screen showed security guards, quiet, efficient, escorting them off. Kyle spat on the ground before they drove away in a black Mercedes. The gate shut with a heavy clang. Kai turned back to me. The gold in his eyes had bled wider, pupils blown. He won't get near you. But this won't stay quiet. Enigmas don't usually step into public fights. Media's already digging into who I am. Who are you? I asked, voice small. Really? He rubbed the back of his neck, the first crack in his calm armor. Kai Vale. Tech investor by day, quiet money in AI and biotech. Enigma by everything else. My pack's old money, old blood. We stay out of the spotlight because when we don't, things get messy. Bonds form fast. Protect what's ours even faster. He stepped closer. The space between us shrank until I could feel the heat rolling off him. But you? You're not a thing to own. You're the first person in years whose fear felt like it was mine to fix. My heart hammered. I wanted to believe him so badly it hurt worse than the cracked ribs. I rose on tiptoes, pain be damned, and pressed my lips to his. The kiss wasn't soft. It was desperate, like I was pouring every broken piece of me into it. His mouth met mine, hungry and careful all at once. One hand cupping my jaw while the other stayed light on my waist, never pressing the bruises. His scent crashed over me, cedar and storm and something deeper, like home I'd never had. I melted into it, fingers twisting in his tank top. For those few seconds the world narrowed to his taste, his warmth, the low rumble in his chest that felt like a promise. We broke apart, breathing hard. His forehead rested against mine. Slow, he murmured, voice wrecked. We do this slow. You set the pace. I nodded, dizzy. Slow sounds good. The rest of the morning blurred in the best way. He drove me, tinted windows, quiet roads, to a discreet clinic for a follow-up. No questions, no stares. On the way back we stopped at a drive-thru because I joked I needed in and out to feel human again. We ate burgers on his balcony, city noise faint below us, trading small stories. My coding job, his hatred of LA traffic, the way he'd moved here from Seattle to escape pack politics. But under it all, tension hummed. My phone, now on silent, lit up with missed calls from Kyle's number. Mia texted heart emojis and, I'm coming over with ice cream and questions later. News alerts pinged. Mystery Enigma hero saves Omega in brutal street attack. By afternoon the sun dipped lower, painting the hills gold. I stood at the glass wall, watching the city wake up to evening lights, when Kai came up behind me. Not touching, just close. You're safe here as long as you want, he said. But if you need space I'll drive you anywhere. No strings. I turned. His eyes were soft now, gold ring faded to normal gray. The bruises on my face looked worse in the mirror earlier, but somehow I felt lighter. I want to stay, I told him. For now. But I need to get my stuff from the apartment. Clothes. Laptop. Before Kyle trashes it all. Kai's jaw flexed. We go tonight. Quiet. I've got people. My pulse kicked up, not fear this time but something sharper. Adventure. Trust. The thread he'd mentioned pulling tighter. As the sky turned purple we slipped into the SUV. Headlights off until we hit the canyon road. My hand found his on the console. He squeezed once. Whatever came next, Kyle's revenge, the media storm, the bond forming whether I was ready or not, I wasn't facing it alone. For the first time that didn't scare me. It felt like the start of something real. The SUV glided into Koreatown like a shadow, headlights off until the last block. My old building loomed ahead, 6 stories of faded stucco and flickering neon from the Korean barbecue joint downstairs. It used to feel like home. Now it looked like a trap. Kai killed the engine in the alley behind it. 2 minutes in, 2 out, he said, voice low. His hand rested on my thigh, thumb tracing slow circles that grounded me. My guys are on the roof in the street. Kyle's car isn't here but we move fast. I nodded, heart slamming against my cracked ribs. The painkillers from earlier had worn off just enough to remind me why we were here. Laptop first, then clothes. Everything else can burn. He leaned over, pressed a quick kiss to my temple, warm, steady, no pressure. His cedar and storm scent wrapped around me like a shield. "You're not burning anything alone tonight." We slipped through the back door using the key I still had. The stairwell smelled like kimchi and old takeout, the same as always. My apartment was on the 4th floor. Every step echoed too loud in my ears. Kai moved behind me, silent as a ghost, one hand hovering at the small of my back without touching the bruises. The door was ajar. I froze. Kyle's scent, sharp pine and anger, still lingered in the hallway like smoke. He'd been here. Recently. Kai's arm slid around my waist, pulling me behind him. The gold ring in his eyes flared bright. "Stay." He pushed the door open with 2 fingers. The living room was trashed. Couch cushions slashed, my gaming setup smashed on the floor, photos of us ripped and scattered. My laptop bag was gone. So was the backup drive with every project I'd coded in the last year. A low growl rumbled from Kai's chest. Not loud, but it vibrated through the floor and straight into my bones. "He's escalating." I stepped past him before he could stop me. Glass crunched under my sneakers. In the bedroom, my closet had been emptied, clothes shredded, the hoodie Kyle bought me for our anniversary sliced into ribbons. On the wall, spray painted in red, "You're nothing without me." My stomach twisted. I wanted to scream, but all that came out was a broken laugh. Classic Kyle. Always so original. Kai was beside me in a heartbeat, pulling me into his chest. I went willingly, burying my face in his tank top. His scent surged, protective, fierce, laced with that deeper lightning that made my Omega instincts want to melt and fight at the same time. "He doesn't get to define you," he murmured into my hair. "Not anymore." I pulled back just enough to look up at him. The dim hallway light caught the scar on his jaw, the way his pupils had blown wide. "I know. But everything I worked for, my code, my notes, it's all gone. I was building an app for Omegas, safety alerts, discrete ride shares. Now it's probably in some dumpster." His hands cupped my face, thumbs brushing the edges of the bruise on my cheek. "Then we rebuild it. Together. My lab has servers that make your old setup look like a toy." The offer landed soft and huge at the same time. I rose on my toes, ribs protesting, and kissed him. Not desperate like this morning. Slower. Deeper. His lips parted under mine, tongue brushing mine in a way that sent heat curling low in my belly. I tasted coffee and restraint, felt the way his fingers tightened just a fraction on my hips before he forced them to stay gentle. His scent thickened, wrapping us both until the trashed room faded and all I could feel was him, solid, safe, wanting me exactly as I was. We broke apart, breathing ragged. His forehead rested against mine. "Alex." "I know," I whispered. Slow. "But that felt right." A faint click from the hallway made us both snap to attention. Kai shoved me behind him again, body coiled like a spring. Footsteps. 2 sets. Heavy. "Security," a voice called low. "Kai's guy, the driver from yesterday." "Clear. But we've got company incoming. Black Mercedes, 3 blocks out. Kyle's back with friends." Kai cursed under his breath. "Time to go." I grabbed what I could. My charger, a half-shredded jacket that still smelled like me instead of him, the one framed photo of my little sister back in Chicago that hadn't been destroyed. Kai scooped up the rest in one arm, the other locked around my shoulders as we bolted down the stairs. We hit the alley just as headlights swept the front of the building. Kyle's voice carried on the night air, slurred, furious. "He's inside." "I know it." Kai didn't wait. He lifted me into the SUV like I weighed air, sliding in after me. The driver peeled out before the doors even fully shut. Tires squealed. I twisted to look back. Kyle was running into the street, phone up, filming again. "Drive," Kai ordered, voice steel. He pulled me across the seat until I was half in his lap, careful of my ribs. His arms locked around me. "Breathe. I've got you." My hands shook as I clutched his shirt. "He's not going to stop. The video from the market already has 1 million views. If he posts this, he won't get the chance." Kai's phone was already out, fingers flying. I just triggered the restraining order paperwork. Full no contact, plus a civil suit for destruction of property. My lawyers move faster than he can tweet. The city lights blurred past as we climbed back into the hills. I stayed curled against him, his heartbeat steady under my ear. The fear still buzzed, but it felt smaller now. Manageable. Like maybe I wasn't the only one carrying it. Back at the villa, the gates sealed behind us with that heavy clang I was starting to love. Kai carried me inside, no arguments, straight to the living room couch. He disappeared for 30 seconds and returned with an ice pack, fresh bandages, and 2 glasses of something amber that smelled like good whiskey. "Drink?" he said, handing me one. Medicinal. I sipped. Warmth spread through my chest. He knelt in front of me, gentle hands rewrapping the compression on my ribs while I told him the rest. The late nights Kyle accused me of cheating because I worked overtime, the way he'd scent mark me so hard I couldn't smell myself anymore, the quiet fear that had become my normal. Kai listened without interrupting, his scent never spiking angry, just steady, protective. When I finished, he sat beside me and pulled me sideways into his lap, my head on his shoulder. "You're not nothing without him," he said quietly. "You're everything that survived him. And now you get to be everything you want." I tilted my head up. The kiss this time was softer, lingering. His mouth moved against mine like he was learning every curve, every sigh I made. One hand threaded through my hair, the other rested warm on my thigh. Heat built slow and sweet between us. No rush, just the deep pull of his Enigma aura drawing my Omega closer, thread by thread. I felt it in my chest, that golden tether he'd mentioned, tightening, glowing warmer every time we touched. We broke apart when my phone buzzed on the coffee table. Mia's name flashed. Asterisk girl, the internet is exploding. Some mystery hot alpha saved you? Call me ASAP. Also, Kyle just got arrested for the apartment break-in. WTF? Asterisk. I showed Kai the text. His mouth curved into a real smile this time, small, satisfied. My guys work fast. Relief crashed over me so hard I laughed, tears pricking my eyes. He's actually gone? For now. For now, Kai echoed. He wiped the tear that escaped with his thumb. But the media's not. My name's out there. Enigma billionaire steps in. They'll dig. Pack politics, old scandals. I don't care. As long as you're safe. I shifted so I could straddle his lap, careful, ribs protesting but not stopping me. My hands framed his face. I'm not just hiding here anymore. I want to fight back. With the app. With whatever you've got in that fancy lab. I want my life back, but better. With you in it. His eyes darkened, gold ring flaring. Then we build it. Tomorrow. Together. The night stretched out after that. We ordered late-night Thai from his favorite spot, pad cew and mango sticky rice, and ate it cross-legged on the balcony, city lights sparkling below like a promise. He told me about Seattle winters and how his Enigma blood made pack life feel like a cage sometimes. I told him about coding marathons and the way jasmine tea always reminded me of my mom. Between bites, our hands kept finding each other. Small touches. A brush of fingers. Another kiss that deepened until we were both breathing hard, his scent and mine twisting together until the air felt charged. No rush. No pressure. Just the slow, electric build of something real. But as midnight crept closer, my phone lit up again. Not Mia this time. An unknown number. The text was simple. Asterisk, you think an Enigma can keep you? I know where he lives. Sleep tight, baby. Asterisk. Kyle. Kai read it over my shoulder. His growl this time rattled the glass doors. The thread between us flared brighter. Fear tried to creep back in, but I crushed it. I was done letting Kyle live rent-free in my head. I looked at Kai, storm eyes, steady hands, the alpha who'd flipped my entire world in 48 hours. Tomorrow, I said, voice steady for the first time in years, we end this. His smile was fierce. Tomorrow. Dawn crept over the hills in streaks of pink and gold, but sleep was a lost cause. Kyle's text burned behind my eyes like a brand. I know where he lives. I'd stared at the ceiling for hours, Kai's arm heavy and warm around my waist the whole time, his steady breathing the only thing keeping the panic from swallowing me whole. His scent, cedar smoke and lightning, had wrapped tighter around me in the night, like his Enigma instincts knew I needed the shield even while unconscious. At 5:47 a.m., I finally gave up and slipped out of bed. Pain in my ribs had dulled to a deep ache, but the real hurt was the itch to do something. I padded downstairs in Kai's oversized hoodie, barefoot on the cool marble, and found him already in the kitchen. 2 laptops open on the island. Coffee brewing. He looked up the second I stepped in, storm gray eyes soft but edged with that gold ring. Couldn't sleep either, he said, voice gravel rough from the long night. He crossed the space in 2 strides and pulled me into a kiss before I could speak. Slow, deep, the kind that poured every unsaid promise straight into my bones. His mouth moved against mine like he was memorizing me, tongue brushing just enough to make heat bloom low and sweet in my chest. I melted into it, fingers curling into his shirt, letting the taste of him chase away the fear. When we broke apart, his forehead rested on mine. We're not waiting for tomorrow anymore. Now. I nodded, throat tight. Yeah. I want it live before Kyle tries anything else. 20 minutes later we were in the SUV, tinted windows hiding us from the waking city. Kai's driver took the canyon roads fast but smooth, heading toward a nondescript industrial building in Culver City that looked like any other tech startup from the outside. Inside was anything but. Biometric scanners, silent security, and an elevator that dropped us straight into a basement lab that smelled like ozone and possibility. "Welcome to Vale Innovations," Kai said, swiping us through glass doors. The space was huge, rows of servers humming softly, massive screens, whiteboards covered in code I recognized as next-gen pheromone mapping. Quiet money means quiet labs. No one knows this exists except my inner circle. I stood there jaw slack. "This is for Omegas?" "Partly." He led me to a station already set up with my specs from the fragments I described last night. "I pulled your public repo last year, before I even knew you. The safety app idea? Is brilliant. Discrete alerts, scent-based threat detection, ride shares that only pair with vetted drivers. We're finishing it today." My heart stuttered. He'd seen my work before the sidewalk. The thread he'd mentioned yesterday pulled tighter, glowing warmer in my chest. I sat at the keyboard, ribs protesting only a little as I started typing. Kai pulled up a second chair right beside me, close enough that our thighs brushed. His hand rested on my knee, steady, not possessive, and every time I hit a snag he leaned in, breath warm against my ear, offering a fix in that calm, low voice. Hours blurred. Code flew between us like conversation. I rebuilt the core alert system while he integrated Enigma-level security, unbreakable encryption, real-time pheromone tracking that could flag an alpha like Kyle from blocks away. We barely paused for the protein shakes he had delivered. Between sips, our hands kept finding each other. A quick squeeze, fingers laced while a compile ran. Once, when a breakthrough clicked, I turned and kissed him hard, deeper than before, tongues sliding, his low rumble vibrating through me until my Omega instincts sang with it. Safety and want twisted together so tight I forgot the bruises entirely. By noon the prototype was live on a private server. I tested it with my own phone. One tap and it pinged Kai's device with my exact location and sent profile. His screen lit up instantly. He looked at me across the station, eyes dark with something fierce and tender. "It works," I whispered, grinning for the first time in days. "It's going to save people." He stood, pulling me up with him. Another kiss, lingering, emotional, the kind that said I see you, all of you, without a single word. His scent flooded mine until they braided together, jasmine and cedar, panic chased out by pure, steady want. I felt the bond thread glow brighter, not forcing, just there. Real. We broke apart when his phone rang, sharp, insistent. Kai's jaw tightened as he answered on speaker. "Mr. Vale, it's legal. Kyle's out on bail. He held a press conference 20 minutes ago outside the courthouse. Named you. Named Alex. Said you stole his Omega and that Enigmas are a danger to society. Video's already at 3 million views. He's threatening to release private footage." My stomach dropped. Private footage. The kind from nights I'd begged him to delete. Kai's hand found mine, squeezing once. "Let him. We're ready." He hung up and turned to me, calm cracking just enough for me to see the protective fire underneath. "Alex, whatever he drops, it doesn't change anything. You're not what he made you. But if you need to step back." "No," the word came out steady. "I'm done hiding. We go public with the app. Today. Call it thread safe. Omega let. Your name attached so the world knows an Enigma built it for us, not against us." His smile was slow, proud. "Thread safe. I like it." The rest of the afternoon raced. We prepped the launch. A simple site, press release drafted by his team, beta invites to every Omega contact Mia could scrape together. I recorded a short video, face still bruised but voice strong, talking about surviving, about building tools that actually protected instead of controlling. Kai stood off camera, sense steadying me the whole time. When I finished, he pulled me into his arms and kissed me slow and deep, pouring relief and pride into every brush of lips until my knees felt weak in the best way. But the high didn't last. At 4:17 p.m. the lab doors chimed. One of Kai's security guys stepped in, face grim. "Incoming." Kyle's live streaming from a car outside the building. He's got a drone up. And he just posted the footage. My phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but I did. The video was grainy, shot in our old apartment. Me, voice small, apologizing for a late night at work. Kyle's hand on my throat, not hard enough for marks but enough. His voice, "Say you're mine." My whispered reply. It cut off before anything worse, but the implication was poison. Comments flooded in. Some calling Kyle a monster. Others saying I'd asked for it. A few tagging me directly, Enigma whore. Kai's growl rattled the glass walls. He didn't watch the video. He just looked at me. We counter now. Live. He pulled me to the main screen. In under 5 minutes we were streaming, unscripted, raw. Kai stood beside me, hand on my lower back, his Enigma presence radiating through the camera like a shield. I spoke first. That video is real. It's the night I realized love wasn't supposed to feel like fear. But this, I gestured to the app demo on screen, this is what comes next. Safety. Real choice. No more threads that choke you. Kai's voice cut in steady and deep. I'm Kai Vale. Enigma. I didn't steal anyone. I protected someone who asked to be protected. Thread Safe launches tonight. Free. For every Omega who's ever felt trapped. The stream exploded, shares, donations, Omega accounts tagging it with their own stories. Relatability hit like wildfire. Comments poured in from guys in WeHo, Omegas in the valley, even a few alphas admitting they'd seen the red flags and stayed silent. My chest loosened for the first time since the sidewalk. But Kyle wasn't done. A new alert hit my phone midstream, a direct message from his burner. * nice speech. See you at the Overlook tonight. 9 p.m. Come alone or the next video drops the full thing. Your choice, baby. * Kai read it over my shoulder. His eyes flashed gold. He wants a trap. We give him one. I turned to him, heart pounding but not with fear this time. Together. No alone. He kissed me, fierce, emotional, the kind that sealed a vow without words. Lips moving deep and sure, tongues sliding until the bond thread between us flared hot and bright, emotions crashing through me. Safety, desire, the quiet promise of forever if I wanted it. I felt it in every cell. His want matching mine, no rush, just the deep, aching pull of two pieces finally fitting. When we pulled back, the lab hummed with new energy. Security doubled. The app went live at 7 p.m. Downloads spiked into the thousands. Kyle thought he could drag me back into the dark. He had no idea we were about to light it on fire. The Overlook sat high above Mulholland Drive, a hairpin turn where the city lights spilled like glitter across the basin. 8:58 p.m. The SUV idled in the pullout, engine off, windows cracked just enough for the cool night air to carry in the distant hum of traffic. My ribs still ached, but the real burn was adrenaline, sharp, steady, the kind that made every breath feel like the first one in months. Kai sat beside me in the back, one hand laced with mine on the seat. His thumb traced slow circles over my knuckles, grounding me. Security's in position, he said quietly, voice that low rumble I was starting to crave. 2 teams silent. Drone overhead. If Kyle so much as breathes wrong, it ends tonight. I squeezed back, heart hammering but not with fear anymore. I'm not running this time. He wants me alone? He gets both of us. And the truth. Kai turned, storm gray eyes catching the faint glow from the dashboard. The gold ring around his pupils had been bright since the lab, like the bond thread between us was humming louder with every hour. He leaned in without hesitation and kissed me, deep, unhurried, the kind that poured everything unsaid into the space between us. His lips moved against mine with that perfect pressure, tongue brushing slow and sure, tasting like the coffee we'd grabbed on the way up. Heat curled low in my chest, spreading warm and electric through my veins. My Omega side leaned into it fully, purring at the way his scent, cedar smoke and lightning, wrapped tighter around my jasmine, braiding us closer. No rush, just the deep ache of want and safety twisting together until I felt the thread glow brighter, almost visible in the dark. We broke apart, breathing hard, foreheads touching. Whatever happens down there, he murmured, you're not his. You're yours. And if you'll have me, you're mine too. No pressure. Just truth. I want that, I whispered, voice steady for once. All of it. His smile was small and fierce. 9 p.m. exactly. Headlights swept the curve below us. A black Mercedes rolled up, slow and deliberate. Kyle stepped out alone. Good. No goons this time. His face was still bruised from the sidewalk, but the smug tilt to his mouth was pure poison. He held up his phone like a weapon. Alex, he called, voice echoing off the rocks. Come out. Let's talk like men. Or I hit send on the full video. Every second. Every sound. Kai's hand tightened on mine once, then released. Stay in the car until I signal. He slid out first, tall frame cutting through the night like a blade. I followed a beat later, heart in my throat but steps sure. The Overlook wind whipped my hoodie, his hoodie, around me. Kyle's eyes locked on me, then flicked to Kai with pure hate. You, Kyle spat. The Enigma freak who thinks he can just take what's mine. Kai didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The air around him shifted, that deep Enigma growl vibrating under the skin, making the hair on my arms stand up. He was never yours. Walk away now and the lawsuit stays civil. Keep pushing and I bury you. Kyle laughed, ugly and loud. He tapped his phone. The video started playing on speaker. My voice from that night, small and broken, begging him to stop. My stomach twisted, but I didn't flinch. Not this time. See that? Kyle sneered, stepping closer. That's the real Alex. Weak. Needy. He'll crawl back when you get bored of playing hero. Omegas like him always do. The words hit like they used to, but they bounced off now. Because Kai was beside me, solid and calm, and the app we'd built today was already saving strangers in WeHo and the Valley. Because I'd coded the fix myself. I stepped forward before Kai could block me. You're right about one thing, I said, voice clear over the wind. I was weak. I stayed because I thought love meant fixing you. But that wasn't love. That was fear. And I'm done. Kyle lunged. Fast, faster than I expected, hand shooting for my arm like he could drag me back by force. He never reached me. Kai moved like lightning. 1 second he was at my side. The next he had Kyle's wrist twisted behind his back, the phone clattering to the dirt. Kyle howled. Kai's voice stayed ice calm. Touch him again and I break more than your arm. You're done, Kyle. Restraining orders active. Video evidence of the break-in, the threats, the livestream. LAPD's already en route. Kyle thrashed, face red. You can't, my lawyers? Your lawyers just got served, Kai cut in. His free hand reached back for me. I took it, stepping close until my shoulder brushed his. The contact sent the bond thread flaring hot and golden between us. Emotions crashing through. My relief, his protective fire, the deep want that had been building since the sidewalk. I felt it in my chest like a second heartbeat. Sirens wailed in the distance, climbing the canyon road. Kyle's eyes went wide. You set me up. No, I said, squeezing Kai's hand. You set yourself up. Every time you raised your fist. Every time you told me I was nothing. I just stopped believing it. Security materialized from the shadows. Kai's team, silent and efficient. They cuffed Kyle as the first black and white rolled up. He screamed my name the whole time, promising revenge, promising the video would ruin me. But the officer in charge just nodded at Kai like they'd spoken before. Body cam on. Statement taken in under 5 minutes. Kyle shoved into the back of the cruiser, still yelling as it pulled away. The overlook went quiet again, just the wind and the city lights below. Kai turned to me, pulling me into his arms right there on the dirt shoulder. I went willingly, burying my face in his chest. His scent flooded me, stronger now, laced with victory and something softer, like the first rain after drought. You were incredible, he murmured into my hair. Brave, strong. Everything he tried to break. I tilted my head up. The kiss that followed wasn't rushed or desperate. It was deep and emotional, the kind that sealed everything we'd been circling. His lips claimed mine slow and sure, tongue sliding against mine in a rhythm that made my pulse sing. Heat built between us, warm, aching, full of promise. His hand steady on my waist, mine fisted in his shirt. The bond thread pulled taut and bright, emotions pouring both ways. My trust, his quiet awe, the want that felt like home. Jasmine and cedar twisted until I couldn't tell where I ended and he began. No words needed. Just the deep, wordless vow in every brush and sigh. When we finally broke apart, the sirens were long gone. His driver waited by the SUV, discreet as ever. Back at the villa, the gates sealed behind us with that familiar heavy clang. Kai didn't let me walk inside. He carried me, gentle on the ribs, straight to the balcony. We sank onto the wide lounge chair overlooking the glittering city, my head on his chest, his arm around me like it had always belonged there. The app's already at 10,000 downloads, he said softly, phone screen glowing faint in the dark. Stories coming in already. Omega saying it gave them the courage to leave tonight. I smiled against his shirt. We did that. Together. He tilted my chin up, eyes soft with that gold ring fully flared. Yeah, we did. Another kiss, lighter this time but just as deep in feeling. And whatever comes next, media, pack politics, the rest of the bond, we face it the same way. I nodded, exhaustion and relief crashing over me like a wave. Kyle was gone for now, locked up and exposed. The bruises would fade. The fear was already smaller, quieter. But the hope? The one that had sparked the moment Kai stepped between me and that fist? It was growing into something bigger. Something real. Something that felt like the start of forever. 1 week later the balcony felt like ours. The city lights still glittered below, but the air carried a new kind of quiet, No sirens, no buzzing phones, just the soft hum of the hills and Kai's steady heartbeat under my ear. I lay curled against him on the wide lounge chair, his arm draped loose around my waist. My ribs had faded to dull aches, the bruises on my face now yellow shadows I no longer hid under hoodies. ThreadSafe had hit 50,000 downloads. Stories poured in every hour. Omegas leaving bad packs, alphas admitting they'd looked away too long. It was real. It was working. Kai's fingers traced lazy circles on my hip, his cedar and storm scent wrapped so tight around my jasmine that I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. The bond thread glowed warm and golden in my chest, no longer pulling, it simply was. Complete. He'd never pushed. He'd waited, steady as the hills themselves, until I was ready to lean in fully. Kyle's hearing is tomorrow, he said quietly, voice rumbling through me. Plea deal on the table. 2 years full no contact. The judge saw the videos. The app metrics. Even the media shifted, calls us the thread-safe couple now. I smiled against his chest. Couple. I like that word. He tilted my chin up, storm gray eyes soft with that faint gold ring. I like everything about you, Alex Hayes. The coder who rebuilt his life in a day. The Omega who stared down his nightmare and chose hope instead. The words settled deep, chasing the last ghosts of doubt. I rose up, straddling his lap carefully, ribs healed enough now for this. My hands framed his face, thumbs brushing the scar along his jaw. You gave me more than safety, I whispered. You gave me back myself. I kissed him then, slow and deep, pouring every piece of the last 7 days into it. His mouth met mine with that perfect, unhurried hunger, lips parting, tongues sliding in a rhythm that made heat bloom warm and sweet through my whole body. Emotions crashed between us through the bond. My gratitude, his quiet pride, the fierce want that felt like home. No rush, just the deep ache of two people finally whole. His hands stayed gentle on my waist, holding me close while the city faded and all that existed was us. Tongues brushing, breaths mingling, the golden thread flaring bright and steady until my heart felt too full. We broke apart breathing ragged, foreheads touching. His smile was small, real, the one that lit something inside me I thought Kyle had killed forever. Move in officially, he said. Not as the Omega I saved. As the man I love. We finished the app together. Expand it. Build whatever comes next. Lab life, all of it. I laughed softly, the sound light and free. Yes. God, yes. Later we stood at the glass railing, his chest to my back, arms around me as the Hollywood sign glowed faint in the distance. My phone buzzed once. Mia sending a selfie from WeHo with the caption *thread-safe saved my coworker last night. You two are legends. I showed Kai. He kissed the top of my head, scent flaring protective and proud. Somewhere down in the city Kyle was done. My old apartment was cleaned out, my things already here. The fear that had lived in my bones for 2 years was finally quiet. I turned in his arms, rose on my toes and kissed him again. Deeper this time, emotions pouring through the bond like sunlight after rain. Safety. What? Forever. He kissed me back the same way, slow and sure, until the thread between us sang complete. I love you, I whispered against his lips. His eyes shone gold. I love you too, little Omega. Always. The night stretched warm and endless above Los Angeles. No more running. No more hiding. Just us, two survivors who'd found something real in the middle of the chaos. And for the first time, the future felt like it was mine to code. Thank you for watching. Please don't leave without supporting this channel by subscribing, like and share for more stories.